Welcome back, guys. The very sad problem. Today's problem is... Oh no, I've messed up. That's the problem. Anyway,
Morning, boss.
USA Grand Prix.
This week's income from the sponsors has cleared, and we're making good profit against our running costs.
And we're just going to let Carl talk there. We're not going to talk over him because we can actually see that he's talking. Whereas Jeff, we can't see that he's talking, so we just ignore Jeff. And welcome back for the longest episode of My Team since the second reboot of the series. The Australian Grand Prix, which was 44 minutes long. This is 43, so about 54 seconds different, 56. So, I hope you enjoyed this lengthy video, and if you do, please make sure to hit the like button and maybe even subscribe button. Let's get on with the episode then. And just getting some build time upgrades for our facilities, and I believe the only stuff left is on the aerodynamics, chassis, and marketing. So once we get those done, we will complete level 1 of everything. But from money we go to R&D points, of which we've got quite a bit. So we got some to spare to spend, and it looks like we are maybe going to look towards a power upgrade, as it will be able to come into Brazilian Grand Prix if we get a major. A minor will also come into the Brazilian Grand Prix, so whatever is worse here around the Brazilian Grand Prix, I don't really remember, so we're just going to go for power, as that long straight is really quite long. But I'm going to get build time on aerodynamics actually, so it means maybe we're going to get aerodynamic upgrade. But from the timeline that I can see, we've got a invitation event coming up, so let's go to that and get the acclaim and money that could prove vital.
They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
Here we are then, the calm before the storm, as we wait for this field of iconic cars to burst into life for the historic invitational event today. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to be here, and welcome along to all of you at home as well. So grab a cup of tea and get ready as our competitors make their final preparations.
So here we are then, overtake challenge. We've got to overtake these 4 drivers in slower cars in 3 laps. Number 1 easily done quite there, and number 2 we head towards now. Easily dive bomb in the 3rd sector, a little bit wide, but we get them done. Number 2 for position 2, and getting it out of the 1st sector into the 2nd sector, quite easily done. And then the final one on the final lap, so, and quite easily done through the middle sector onto the main straight, back straight, and we come across the final corner for the final time, and it's an easy pass challenge that should give us confidence as we head into the US Grand Prix. And just checking on the XP points for the little mini race that we did, and it seems like we're going up quite a bit in that tier, but not too much to go fully through the tier. I'm moving around to a comfier position, so maybe you're hearing some rustling. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. But we get to the aerodynamics upgrade point now, and drag reduction and DRS quite useful as well as we head into the Brazilian Grand Prix. So is power, so I believe we're going to go with power, and it will get in on time for the Brazilian Grand Prix, and so will a drag reduction or DRS for the aerodynamics. So which one I'm going to go for, I don't remember. I've completed the whole season and I still don't remember. I mean, I completed the whole season last week, and so I don't know. I mean, I know that I'm going to choose one of these at one point, but I believe it is going to be one of the minors. Drag reduction, easily done, and that should prove useful as we get into the Brazilian Grand Prix in 2 episodes' time. Anyway, speaking of episodes, let's go to the US Grand Prix with a major upgrade for the rear wing. Rear downforce should give us extra confidence going into the first sector, but the only way we'll find that out is if we go to the US Grand Prix to find out. What after making sure my components are on the warnest that they can, the second warnest components that they can be, to give us the most optimized power throughout the whole Grand Prix weekend. Well, you'd like to think so. I'm changing these based on laps, so you don't know. Maybe next year I'll actually go off the percentages, because that could prove much better, because I could be going 10 laps over curbs, damaging some of the software, or I could go 10 laps off curbs and not damage the software. But with player failures, maybe I should, and not focus on the percentages for tyres as well. Focusing on other parts, gearbox can change now, and we're changing the tyres all the way to the softest compounds, so that we have much grip in the first sector, and finally we go to the US Grand Prix.
They've announced that the technical regulations are changing for next season. Now there's a risk a lot of our hard work could be undone if we're not careful, so let's figure out how to mitigate this. Drivers, take a look at the developments we have and let us know what you want to invest in protecting. Alright everyone, let's get on top of this.
Obviously there's a R&D change. Not gonna put any R&D points towards it unless I can't get any upgrades, because I'm not coming back for another season. As you can tell, F1 2021 is only 1 week away, so it's useless doing another season. I might do all the simulations of it, but speaking of simulations, let's go to the unsimulated practice 1. Anyway, let's go to our first lap in the track. Red hole lap because I went wide somewhere, I don't know where, but obviously it weren't good, and we go through our second lap. Purple everywhere, tyre wear, team objective. Yeah, I interrupted Jeff both times, I don't know what he was trying to say. Fast sector 1, that's what I'm trying to say, as we hit the apex very beautifully, top speed in the banana straight, as it curves left to right, right to left to right, and down to up to down, and getting quite a lot of the team objective goals, to do with upgrades and a fast sector 2. Okay, also we get fast sector 3 and we achieve our target time of P15, and we get P15. First lap on the race strategy tyres then. Consistent is always nice. There's it means you're consistent, by the way. Don't know if you knew that.
Okay, super job so far. We're getting great data.
I don't need to
Stay
them.
Focused.
Lap 3 then, finally coming across the line. No need to really push.
Great lap.
quite easily than the target times, and that is us done for practice, as we don't need to do any more, because we're fully set for the Grand Prix, and yeah, we just need to get into the Grand Prix and show what we're made of, as we go 8 tenths quicker than everyone on the soft tyres. But to be fair, Jack Aitken's looking okay on the mediums, so the pace is quite there. Let's see where we got on the mediums. A 35.0, and that would have put us somewhere.
Let's have your take on it.
Can't believe I just interrupted myself.
For next season have been announced. How is your team going to cope with the
business as usual. It's not going to change anything.
There's quite a buzz around this team at the moment. What are your thoughts?
Well, working hard this season.
Appreciate your time.
Really? Only 2 questions? Anyway, don't matter. 800 resource points for our team puts our total to 1,358. Leveling up on a claim for not Jack, but our team. So we are closing in on higher payouts from our sponsors. With 3 Grand Prix after this, it's a little bit useless, but you know, you gotta take everything that you can and maybe set myself up for the best that I can when I finish this game, this final race in Abu Dhabi, which I have completed the season of, so that I can find out what would happen if I kept my same driver. And there's actually been some transfers due to retirements of drivers. Speaking of retirements, we're not going to do that in qualifying, and I'm going to prove it. Q1 then, Danica Kvyat sent in the first lap, Alex Albon then sent in the next first lap, and Lewis Hamilton at 30.5. I don't know what happened to only doing it for Q3, but I guess I'm just getting back used to how I would normally do it at the beginning of this game, in preparation for this year's game. And only the 1 lap is enough to put us through to Q2. Like I said, no retiring, and I believe I've made the same mistake again. I've not changed my power units, but it's enough for P7 on the softs. Alex Albon looking a little bit down. Jack Aitken getting into Q2 for the first time in the first time. So looking good for our team. Is Virtual Glass, that's a 31-1, and Lewis Hamilton then smashes that with a 30.8. Not really a smash, but it's 3/10, which is quite a lot. Beginning the gap in esports, we go 6th on the softs, and yeah, it's a little bit bad. So
2 minutes remaining.
Q2's final run then, gonna go all the way on board, maybe show you suspense, maybe make you think that this is my final lap of qualifying. Going into turn 1, we lock up and we lose some time, but on the exit, we lose some time. Going through sector 1 then, the rear downforce upgrade should have allowed us to go a little bit more flat than we would have normally been able to. And we go through sector 1, proving that we're quite consistent, as we're less than a tenth behind our normal lap time. You can't trust the delta, because it's that when we cross the sector 1 time, that we're about 2 tenths down. Going through the hairpin, going a little bit deep so we could get on power and get a higher top speed. Seems to be up in our delta, but we can't do that in the race, as it will affect our chances of being overtaken and overtaking. 3 tenths up, pretty much 4 tenths up though, as we go through the second sector, going into the third sector and then clipping the apex of the corner before the triple right, going through the triple right then, and missing all 3 apexes, and then going into the penultimate corner, missing the apex only just, losing us some time, going into the final apex, little bit wide, losing us some time, going across the line. Where's it going to be? It's P12, our last lap of the session, but we're going to stay on board to find out where everyone is going to be, because we crossed the line early. So there's a car coming across now, Lando Norris pushing Verstappen down. Verstappen's down even further now due to Ricciardo setting a faster lap. Kvyat, I think that was going across, not improving. Gasly improving to P14. Racing Point not improving. And then our teammates come across the line and not improving to our range. But that is enough for us to be knocked out, unfortunately, being our final lap of qualifying. Suspense didn't work, and it did the complete opposite. It put pressure on me and meant that I did not get into Q3. And P12 then, right behind Max Verstappen, but maybe that is a good result considering we're allowed any choice of tyres, and I have a feeling that USA is going to be a bit punishing with Sector 1 and the triple right. So the triple apex of turn 17. So yeah, could look good. Maybe we go for 1 stop whilst the others go for a 2 stop, as I've just for the reason I've just said. Yeah, that's the team.
After all the teams have updated their cars for next season's regulation
I don't know.
where do you think
I mean, I really don't care. I'm not going to be racing. I mean, I just realised I'm going to be racing in pretty much the exact same car in, well, next week basically. Daniel Ricciardo beating us in the rivalry, but not beating us overall. Only by 1 point are we ahead, so it's a little bit touch and go, but we should be fine. Jack Aitken is sure to increase his acclaim after that Q2 appearance. Not by much though, pretty much on the deadline. And yeah, we should be able to go well here. And I'm going to imitate what I actually thought in this section now. I will say in a sec. Just checking all the progress on that. I don't know why. As we go to see trophies and look where we came last time in 16th, it was Silverstone. Came 4th in Budapest. We came 16th in Japan. So last time we came 16th, we got 4th. So we're looking good. If we ignore the last time we came 16th before that, which was Spain, where we came 20th in Monaco, but we don't speak of that.
Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin, in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself 14 miles southeast of the city centre and home to the US Grand Prix since 2012. The latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. We have 10 turns to the left and 10 to the right here at the fantastic Circuit of the Americas. Overtaking opportunities into turn 1 and 12 at this anti-clockwise 3.6 mile track. And we should see average lap speeds of around 126 miles per hour. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. There's a real chance they could win the title today. So how do you think they'll handle the pressure?
I think as long as they keep their mind on the task and not its historical significance, they'll be just fine. This is a race just like any other. You do the best you can and accept that sometimes things are going to happen outside of your control. If they can approach today with that attitude, the pressure shouldn't be a problem.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Albon, Carlos Sainz, and Ricciardo, Perez, Ocon, Verstappen, and the engineer, Fiat, Gasly, Sebastian Vettel. They've taken a grid penalty, and Stroll, Aitken, Giovinazzi, Romain Grosjean, and Kevin Magnussen, Norris, Raikkonen, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So we'll have to be sure to write a thank you note to Vettel and Norris, as they've got a grid penalty allowing us to be bumped up into P10, 2 positions higher. And looking at the strategy, we've been able to make it a one stop and trying to get it as optimized as possible. 1 second quicker it seems like it's going to be, and we're just trying to get it to 1.6. And then we realise, not about the fuel, but not about the setup either, go away. We realised that we need to put it on personalised, as it will give us proper tyre proper tyre deg, and allow us to have a better race overall. Personalised, Bobbi. There we go. Keep on that one. And now we're just going to change the strategy to as much as we want it, so it is optimised as possible. Seems to be lap 11, but we've picked lap 12. So there we go. And we get ready for the formation lap. And as we're quite high up, well, I say quite high up, we're pretty much middle. We get to go quite early.
Good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of the lap.
I'll let Jeff speak. I don't even know what he said. You guys will know what he said, and I will know what he said. I know what he will say when we come to Abu Dhabi, because I've put subtitles on. I don't know if I've mentioned it in the previous 2 episodes, because I don't think they were. I think they were out earlier. But yeah, subtitles for Abu Dhabi. I hope you're happy.
The rest of the grid is forming up.
I know I will be.
And watch for the lights.
But we get ready for the Grand Prix to begin, and it seems like it will begin any moment now. As we get ready for the 5 red lights, we're in neutral, we're in now first. When we go over the perch, we'll be off, and we are off now. As we get a good start compared to Esteban Ocon and Max Verstappen, but we have to back out of it because of Esteban's so poor start. We get dive bomb round the outside by Kvyat as we make contact with him. Trying to go round the outside of the Red Bull doesn't quite work, so we're being backed off into a battle with Danny Kvyat. We go into the fast S's of Sector 1. We are caught up behind Ocon, so maybe Kvyat will get a chance unless we dive round the inside, exceeding track limits, whilst we also overtake Ocon, tightening our line for turn 8, so it's allowing Ocon to get back past, and we did cut the corner when we overtook him, so it was only fair. Because now we dive bomb that by Danny Kvyat, but we almost get brake checked almost by Esteban Ocon, so Vettel is now going down our inside for the 3rd sector. But overtaking our engine is much more powerful than the Ferrari's engine.
Alright, let's focus now for the rest of the race.
So we are able to stay ahead of him and catch back up to Esteban Ocon as Lewis Hamilton sets a 34.9 for the first lap, and I am already out of breath. Nice to do that. Anyway, settling into the race now as Lewis sets a 34.7. We're probably going to set a 35.7. You never know. Oh no, 36.8.
This lap,
so that's
you
close.
can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Lap 3 now, DRS should come in handy, and this is not a player mistake.
We're accumulating some.
Yeah, it just froze for me. I don't know why, and yeah, the game glitch is not gonna. I'm not gonna take a warning for the game to glitch. As we go back through the replay. it just happens instantly in the replay, but you can see from the recording that it was a screen freeze. Probably actually screen freeze. Get the switchback on Sebastian Vettel, and we stay ahead of him after that little excursion. We seem to stay ahead of him. We're pushing them all the way to the outside. Can we get them into the third sector? Yes, we can. Quite easy. Force them out wide. Not enough to let Gasly through, but enough for us to stay in the position ahead of him. Closing in on Ocon then. I've accidentally kept this whole clip in. Maybe on purpose, maybe by accident. Who knows? But we are closing in on Ocon ever so slightly. 3/10 the gap now. The quicker we can get past him, the quicker we can close back up to Kvyat. Sorry. And looking towards turn 1, maybe we can get the dive bomb on him there as he goes defensive right where we want him to. He makes a little bit of a jiggle as we go into turn 1, so we have to make a little bit of jiggle. We're going right around the outside, almost making contact with his front wing as we go through turn 2 into the position ahead of him. I was about to say lead, but that's not the lead. And we are in clear there now, setting 35.5s. And pretty much like that, we catch up to Danny Kvyat, and we're now in his DRS range. And now we're back into setting 136s. Nope, now we're into 137. This is how slow we're going now. I don't get how we weren't able to catch up to them when we were behind it.
The gap is less than a second. They're on old softs. Their tyres are 6 laps old. We think they've got 2 stops remaining. The time last lap was a 1 minute 37.2. You're gaining by 1/10 a lap.
Lucky enough, I had
with 1 second of the car ahead, get ready to use DRS to overtake.
Saying that they predicted a 2-stop. I don't know when Jeff was ending to speak because I thought it would clip away to the next lap. But obviously, I am not that smart. And Lewis Hamilton gonna dive bomb me into the final corner after he's made his pit stop. You would have seen that on the previous lap. We tried to switch back in, but it's very useless. As he gets right past us pretty much instantly. And now we're going to be chased down by Valtteri Bottas as we get a little bit of oversteer going through turn 8, where Sebastian Vettel had his suspension failure last time we were here in real life. And another snap of oversteer as we check the tyres. Not too bad, but they're getting close to the end of their life. 2 more laps. And yeah, we'll be getting off these tyres as we're holding up Valtteri so much that he's lost 2 seconds to Lewis Hamilton ahead of him. And now he'll be released. We are going to try and defend it, but he gets past us quite early on in straight that we realise no point, so we'll just let him go. And Jack Aitken comes into the pits.
Jack is in the pits. Jack in the pits.
And speaking of pits, we're coming on to our pit lap now, as Max Verstappen came into the pit lap, and we are now on the podium in this US Grand Prix.
They're in 10th.
Checking on our man Daniel Ricciardo. I don't know when he finished. He's almost going into the barrier, coming into the pit lane, so that would have been certainly a front wing change. But obviously we were able to avoid it. Charles Leclerc and Lance Stroll in the opposite order behind us. Stroll comes into the pits. Leclerc doesn't, but he will soon be coming in for his second pit stop, as we saw by Danny Kvyat. Coming out to pit lane then, Danny Kvyat gets back past us, but with our fresher mediums we should be able to get past him. Going into turn 1, we're having to clip the apex, maybe a bit of contact with Checo Perez, and seems like we did. Not really my fault, he just came turning into me, and see track limits. Wow, what a surprise. Anyway, closing in on Danny Kvyat and Alexander Albon then. Kvyat, surprisingly, going on to the softs. Well, actually, no, not Kvyat, but surprisingly, Alex Albon on the hards. Is he doing a one-stop like I am? If he is, you don't need to go on the mediums, as he gets stuck with oversteer on these fresh hards. I don't think that's what you want to do, mate. As we go round the outside of Danik Kvyat, due to the fact that he was held up by Alexander Albon, we go sailing through his inside, through the triple, I want to say quadruple apex corner, because I see 4 apexes. It probably is 4 apexes, but I keep calling it triple, I don't know why. Anyway, lap 16 then, we now have only Alex ahead of us, so we should be able to do what we did to our teammate and get past him, because he's punching a hole in the air.
Less than a second separate you. They're on old hards.
Yeah.
Their tyres are 6 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:37.2. You're gaining by 1/10 a lap. You're sat in P8. Albon is ahead of you. The gap is less than a second. They're on old hards. Kvyat behind. Less than a second separate you. They're on old softs. The distance to the leader is 32.9 seconds. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. 12 laps to go.
Talking to our main man Jeff, I think he said that Albon going to the end on these tyres, and looks like so is Daniel Ricciardo on those hards as well. Danik Kvyat going on to the 2-stop. Probably the only one I've seen, but I don't know. Very odd. Closing in around Albon, then we can make a late dive to the inside, lock up the rear front tyres, but we usually get past him. And now the hunt begins to Daniel Ricciardo. See, look, Leclerc and Sainz coming in. Danny Kvyat as well also. So now in P5, and it's a true battle for P4.
Gap to the car in front is 2.8 seconds. They're on old hards. Their tyres are 7 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:36.5. You're gaining by 3/10 a lap. Good work. The gap to the car ahead is 2.9 seconds.
So we're closing in on Daniel Ricciardo, and you may have noticed that getting snuck of oversteer.
No need to worry about tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good.
You may have noticed that we haven't been able to set any green laps, and yeah, it's kind of because the car's not that comfortable. I mean, I probably should have mentioned it earlier, but yeah, keep setting green sectors, but not enough to set a green lap.
The car ahead,
And
but be aware that these tyres
closing
need to
in
last
Ricciardo
till the end
still,
of the race.
1.6 the gap now, and these hard tyres are slowly dying off, but so are our mediums. So you will eventually get the high ground, but whilst we've got this advantage, we need to close in. Lap 21 then, 1/4 of the race to go, and you can see by that we were so close to setting a new personal best, but we still can't set one, so it's not been the best Grand Prix, and the consistency hasn't really been there, that we saw from practice. We are now in the DRS range, and podium is so close, but we drop out the DRS range.
Ahead, the gap is less than a second. They're on old hards. Their tyres are 13 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:36.0. You're falling back by 1/10 a lap.
We're closing in on Daniel Ricciardo, and snaps of oversteer like that aren't going to help us as we drop outside the 1 second range, and we don't get DRS, so we really need to push now as we head on to the final 4 full laps. And yeah, podium's looking ever so dire as we get onto the final 3 laps, which are now our push laps. So if we can't catch up to him now, it's game over. But we have caught up to him. It's 3/10 now, and they're not able to get past him. Our straight line speed is not there. Going to turn 1, there's music coming up. Why is that? There's yellow flags at the end of the hairpin. What's going on? There's no one around that dot. Seems to be sight. Is that Mercedes? It's not Valtteri, because he's overtaken by Staff. It's Lewis Hamilton. This is now a race for the podium. You can see how hard I'm pushing now. I am so close to Daniel Ricciardo. Lewis is out.
Yellow flag.
he's so close to the podium now. There he is on the right. Valtteri has gone past him. Daniel Ricciardo's gone past him. We've gone past him. We are now into P4, and the driver ahead of us that we could be overtaking is now in P3. Can we get down the inside to get a podium in an uncomfortable car? We're diving down the inside. We've left the door wide open as we've gone deep into the corner. We're going into second speed. Can we force them wide? Yes, we can. We have now taken a podium. Oh, just start P10 in this race. Can we just hold on for another lap? It seems like we are able to, and we are so close to getting a podium, and we have got the podium.
Top job, my friend, top job. I was a bit worried about this one at the start of the weekend, but you've pulled through. Thank you.
Victory for the team from Milton Keynes then, after a quality performance. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Bobbi, this was one of consistent speed and the confidence and skill to overtake. Inside, London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
Drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to every one of the team.
We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Often my go-to will be a driver who's managed to pull off an especially impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Max Verstappen's solid, clean driving throughout the race.
It's another clear win for Mercedes as they managed to secure the Constructors' title. An incredible performance for the whole team. Well, Ant, an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Your soul.
Wow. What an absolute banger of a race. P10 to podium. I mean, I think it was really good that we had said what we said at the beginning of this race. That last time I finished 16th, I got P4. Well, I've done one better, and I've got P3. 10 points away now from Alexander Albon. 5 to make 15 behind Carlos Sainz. It's just amazing how we've managed to get a podium. Snatching it off Ricciardo so late on. And wow. In a car that had decreased power due to me not changing the power units. It's wow. And we almost got Bottas at the end. We could have got a second, but I'm happy. I'm over the moon with this P3. Lewis on the penultimate lap even is gifted us a P3.
Fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy.
It was
Forcing your way through the field
very
during the
not
race.
easy. I wasn't cutting through the field. I was getting through it. It was just hard. Yeah, great. I mean, that
Really
aero
losing control of your
upgrade
car
really
out
helped
there.
us
Your
in
team must
Sector
be
1.
thrilled.
Helped us close in to Daniel Ricciardo and stay with him. Well,
Which department
you
has
know,
been hit the hardest by
if
next year's
fulfillment
regulation
goes
changes?
both ways. No comment on this one. I don't need to, because I am not upgrading.
Great. Well, that's everything.
And well, all 5 to our rivalry now. 3 we have gained, so we are now 4 points ahead as we go into the final 4 Grand Prix of this rivalry. I am just so happy with that result. I don't care what you tell me. Nothing can take away from that result. I hope you enjoyed that hunt at the end as much as I did. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. And if you want to see what happens in the next race, make sure to subscribe. But until you races have a problem you engineers can't fix, I've been the Racengineer. Let's go. Have fun. Be free. Yes.